Good morning. Alright, we're back. And Suhas and Artwork Studios, are you guys already here? Damn. Let's go. Y'all are on top of it. And Lamp is here. Hello, Lamp. Lamp, I will tell you, in Discord, you come across a little bit spammy in Discord. Some of the messages seem a little spammy, man. Nonetheless, I'm glad you're here. Hello, Veds Improvin. I don't know. Do I say Veds Improvin or Veds Improvin? Explain yourself, Lamp. Lamp. Gemini being weird, though. What do you mean Gemini's being weird? Gemini's just a machine learning model. Any will work. Okay, nice. Very cool. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for showing up so early. I'm guessing you guys are... I'm guessing it's not 4 o'clock in the morning for you guys. I'm guessing it's a little later in the day for y'all. Yeah, Gemini? Yeah, I haven't had any issues with it. Little hallucinations to just today? It hallucinates every day for me. Which the AI companies tell me that's a feature, not a bug. 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Yeah, okay. Cool, well, I'm glad you guys are here. I hope your days are going well. You disturbed my Discord combo? Well, I didn't disturb shit. What are you talking about? You're welcome to live your life, man. Well, they are lying. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the problem is they don't know how to fix the hallucination problem, so we're just kind of stuck with it, you know? It's my internet or stream is lagging. Let me know. On my side, all my stats and OBS look good. So if it is laggy for a bunch of people, let me know, and I will try to make a sacrifice to the internet gremlins. All right, we gotta get going this morning, man. I tell you what, 4 a.m. comes early and earlier every day. The longer I keep my streak going, I do think I figured out a way to stream remotely, I think. So I think I might try to stream from the road this week when I go on I've got a trip. I think probably some of you heard me say that a couple days ago or yesterday, but I have a trip this week for work. But I think I figured out a way how to stream remotely, like with decent effectiveness. Let's see. Yeah, or they could just be like Perplexity, to be honest, since they could use the way Perplexity gets info and lessen the load on the model itself. Yeah, like, oh, you basically mean put a layer of grounding on top of the model at like the application level where everything it says is grounded in some sort of Google search essentially. Yeah, I'm guessing that's expensive to do, right? That's probably why they don't want to do it. When do you go to sleep each day? Typically, I'm in bed by midnight or earlier. Like last night, I think I was probably asleep by 11 o'clock. Um, Trip to where? The trip is in Nashville, or going to Nashville, Tennessee, home of the Country Music Hall of Fame. Gun High's high remote stream, awesome. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna try to do. This may be really hacky, and I honestly don't know how well it will work. But apparently, I didn't know this, but over remote desktop, if you have remote desktop on your Windows PC, apparently you can share USB devices. You can even share like built-in devices like your webcam. So I think what I might try to do is I'll still stream from the PC that I always stream with that's here in my office. I think what I'll do is I'll use Tailscale. I'll make a remote desktop connection uh, through my Tailscale network to this PC back home. I'll fire up everything like I normally would, but instead of my camera being from my big camera that I normally use to stream, my camera will come from my laptop's webcam. And then I'll stream everything else from the PC, right? So I'll still have really good internet and really good connection. The only thing that will be kind of wacky is the fact that my camera is being, the feed for my camera will be coming from a remote connection over UDP through remote desktop, and then into OBS, and then out through my home network. So we'll see how that works. Gunhighs, yes, shared USB vendor. I had no idea about this. I knew that you could obviously share like your keyboard and your mouse, but I had no idea you could share USB devices. So I have a webcam here, like a little 1080p webcam. I might bring this guy right here. Um, I mean, the webcam in my laptop's not bad, but we'll see. The quality obviously is not going to be as good, the camera quality, but it would have let me it would let me keep my streak up. MD, I'm watching your live in Discord. Oh, that's very cool. I didn't know you could do that. So I guess in that event I created, it lets you do it. Lamp, someone overtook me. Oh, you're talking about the XP? Manish, switching from backend developer to AI/ML is good at this time. So Manesh, I think I'm saying your name right, Manesh or Manish. I don't know if I have a good answer to that question. I guess like I've never worked in AI or ML, so I don't know I don't know what the caveat is for that switch. Like how big of a switch is it to go from backend developer to now I do machine learning? Um, but looking at like where the market is, my thought would be yes, because it seems like that skill set is in high demand at the moment. But I don't know how long of a journey or how difficult that switch would be, right? I don't know how much. There doesn't seem to be a lot of overlap between those two things, but I could be wrong. Gun Highs. It's not about web quality, but person on the other side. Well, I appreciate you, Gun. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a shot. I figure why not? I mean, like you said, it's kind of like at least I would be here, and I would be streaming something. So we'll see. MD, yeah, you can see in that link. Well, that's pretty cool. Volume is a bit low from your side. Let me look. Maybe I'm just too far away from my mic. Is that better? I usually have my mic gain turned down a little bit because I always feel like sometimes I talk louder, sometimes I talk quieter, and I don't want to bust your eardrums. But maybe that's better now. When I talk, the levels in my OBS monitor look fine. Lamp, are you just gonna say hi until you can get your XP back up? We had a conversation the other day about this in a stream about how YouTube's gamification of chat is not maybe the most desired thing for stream participants, but it looks like Lamp enjoys it, so YouTube must be doing some amount of research because some people enjoy it. Hey Butterscotch, how are you, man? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. My name is called Manish, but spelled as Manish. Okay, so I'm saying it right then. Manish. Anyway, have a nice day. Gotta go because Sunday's my family day. See you later at Nashville-ish stream. Yes, yes. I'll be here. So I'll be here Monday morning like normal. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will likely be streams from the road, or I'm gonna try to stream from the road. But you have a great day, man. I totally respect Sunday being family day. So you have a wonderful day. Just wanted to point out that your Vim scroll off is not working. Oh, so I turned it off, Butterscotch. So maybe you can help me with this. So I turned it off because it was behaving funny. So let me demo this for you real quick. And maybe you can explain why this is happening. I didn't like what was happening, so I turned it off. One sec. Vim.op.scroll off. I think we had this set to like 100 or something. Suhas, you shouldn't be upset that you have to take a bath. We should all practice good hygiene. Nobody wants to be the kid with BO. Yeah, I mean, that's just never a good look. Lamp, are my messages hidden? No, your messages are here, Lamp. You're just Lamp, you're literally just saying hi, and I have nothing to say back to you. Okay. All right, Lamp, I'm gonna put you in a timeout, buddy. I don't know what the deal is there, but 10-minute timeout. There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of think Lamp might be like a 5 or 6-year-old kid. Uh, just based on some of his messages and some of his Discord interactions. It just comes across kind of spammy. Lamp got mood swings. Yeah, I don't know. This is a strange. His messages come off kind of odd. So we'll put him in a timeout there. He'll cool off and. Yeah, really, really young is my bet. Ved's improv, and that is my bet. Which is, as a father of 2 young sons, it's kind of scary to me that people let their kids have YouTube access pretty much unfettered at super young ages. One of my son's friends somehow found my YouTube channel, and for like a week straight, I started seeing like comments on like every video on my channel. that was just like hi, 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 hi. And I was like, who is giving this kid the YouTube app and just turned him loose? Hey, everyone's allowed, I guess, to live their life the way they want to live it. Hey, what's up, Artwork Studios? Good to see you again, man. MD, I wanted to ask you something since you're a developer and probably have open source experience. Uh, I so yes, I do have some open source experience. So I've contributed to a couple open, not anything big though. The biggest open source project I've contributed to is the Playwright. The tool for doing browser automation. Um, which is what is it? Playwright.dev. This is probably the largest project I've contributed to. I've also contributed to the Azure SDK in JavaScript. I've made some contributions to that. But this is probably the biggest one that I've made contributions to. I'm learning Rust coming from C, and I'm not sure what's better, doing DSA/leak code for logic building or focusing on small projects to understand the language and libraries better. What would you suggest? I think for learning Rust, I would probably, if you're in the early days, I would start with Nikias. Thanks for your subscription, man. I appreciate you. Cinematic Man, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. I think if you're in the early days of learning any language, I think focusing on smaller problems is usually better so that you can focus on the syntax. You know, if you think about some of Free Code Camp's early in curriculum lessons, they're usually very small and they're kind of very much focused on the syntax and the structure of the language. Once you get though past this, like once you get a pretty good understanding, you know, of the language's syntax and control flow and, you know, the basics, I think at that point then you probably are, it's probably opens the door to start incorporating some actual project-based learning. Um, I think, but I think, I think if you had to say, okay, I spent, you know, let's say I spent 6 months learning a new language or 3 months learning a new language, whatever time horizon you want to pick, I think probably 20% of it you'd spend on doing some smaller, like leak code type puzzles, or maybe um, language syntax focused learning. And then the 80% I would probably say needs to be focused on project based learning, right? Because I think the quicker you enter project based learning, the better. Um, but I think there is some justification to doing some of those DSA leak code things at the beginning just to get reps with the language. Yes, Feds, I would agree. Kids using YouTube should definitely be supervised. Actually, the YouTube Kids app is a great app. Like I said, I'm a 32-year-old dad of two kids, and both of them have had iPads basically since they were old enough to have them. Um, and me and my wife, you know, it's heavily we know all the parental controls and all the different things, and the YouTube Kids app is particularly good. Like you do things to get through their content filter sometimes, sure, but for the most part, we can very strictly control what they have access to, and it eliminates a lot of the community features, so they can't really comment or message or do anything like that. How do you moderate your kid? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so how we moderate our kids is basically just case by case. So like when it comes to YouTube, we basically, me and my wife just will audit any channel that they want to watch or creator they want to follow, and then we kind of explicitly share each individual channel with our kids. So on the YouTube app, you can go as a parent, you can go to a channel and explicitly like share with this kid or share with that kid because the accounts are associated with yours. Yeah. And so that's basically how we do it. We just kind of, I mean, does it take a lot of time and effort for you as the parent? Yes, it does. But it's the only way to really know for certain what you're what you're letting your child get into is by actually auditing it yourself. But YouTube makes it very easy to do parental control. Do you use DNS? Like, so are you talking about DNS like domain name servers, like that DNS? Because if that's what you're talking about, doesn't everyone use it? Like, if you use the internet, you use DNS. So YouTube Kids isn't perfect though. Have some YKW. Yeah, well, for sure, YouTube Kids is not perfect, but it's pretty dang good when you consider how much content is uploaded to their platform every single freaking minute of every single day, and they still do a pretty good job of um, keeping it. But you probably as that goes back to like our approach is like you shouldn't just like let your kid have like you shouldn't just set some age limit and then let your kid have carte blanche. That's not how our approach is. Our approach is we everything that is shared is explicitly audited. The channel is audited by like we let them watch Mark Rober, for example, right? There's just certain creators, certain channels. Um, and then there are times where we take away access. Like we'll see them, we'll say, yeah, that's okay to watch that person, and then we'll see that person upload some stuff, and we're like, yeah, we're not cool with that anymore. You know, so you just have to stay on top of it. You got to stay close to your kids and be aware of what their media diet looks like. You know, just the same way you got to look at what their food diet looks like. Bro made their kids into an FL statement. uh, I mean, honestly, uh, when you have a baby for the first time in your life, babies are basically a switch statement. They're more like they're less like a switch statement. Like in C sharp, they're more like a pattern. They're more like pattern matching because it's like they're it's always a baby, but it's more like is it a baby crying? You know, and then it's like if it's crying, then is it a baby crying because it needs food? But there's like only 3 or 4 cases. Thanks for the subscription, MD. There's only 3 or 4 cases. Like you feed them, put them to sleep, uh, change their diaper. You know, like a lot of those early years it's pretty much a very simple if else statement or switch statement. When it gets more complicated, the older they get, the more subtleties there are. I love Mark Rober. Yeah, Mark Rober's fantastic. Fan freaking tastic. For both, I mean, his content in general is fantastic, but particularly for my kids, I think his content is wonderful because they through his content, right, they get introduced because they like know that I worked as a scientist at one point in my career, right? Which they're like, yeah, dad was a scientist, whatever. It's not a big, it's not a big deal. But like they think Mark Rober's cool, right? But in another time, Mark Rober would be kind of like a nerd, right? He's like an engineer. But he portrays engineering and science in a way that you want to be an engineer and a scientist, right? He makes it cool, just like professional athletes make it cool to be professional athletes, and we need more of that in the world. Sad part is you have to constantly keep unit testing them. Yeah. Lamp. I was joking, by the way, for kissing myself. I'm defer older than 5. No, I'm not going to say blah 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 blah. Sorry. Um, yeah, I don't know, Lamp. I'm just gonna tell you your messages come off as kind of spammy sometimes. So maybe just chill. MD, I just resubscribed just to appear on live. That's hilarious. Just so that you get on the stream elements alert. Fair enough. You could then just cherry pick them infographics, Vertasium, History TV. For sure, you could. Yeah, and I think that's one of my favorite things about the parental controls is because I can explicitly control channels that I share. I can share specific videos that I think are cool or interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Being a dad in the age in the I mean, my kids are really digital natives, right? Like they've grown up in a connected environment from the time they were very little. Whereas in I'm young. I'm relative like 32. I'm not young, but like I think 32 is like you're in the part of the millennial generation, and so people kind of think that I grew up in that way, but I didn't, right? Like I was born in 1993. Like for the first, I didn't have an iPhone until I was a sophomore in college. You know, like I grew up texting on T9 text on a dumb phone. So like raising kids in this environment is definitely quite an experience. I'll say that. Artwork Studios. I would do it, but I'd rather say I've been subbed for a few months. Ah, that's fair. That's fair. 32 is relatively young, but midlife crisis phase. So am I due? Am I due for a midlife crisis? I hope not. I hope I'm not due for a midlife crisis. Um, Also, wow, Steven, you're younger than my father. My dad was born in 1985. Yeah, I think that's pretty. Well, I guess I don't know how old you are, Artwork Studio. You don't have to say, but my wife and I say this all the time. So where we live, I've mentioned we live in Kansas City, Kansas, and almost all the kids that my kids go to school with, all their parents are probably 10 years older than us. So they're more like in their 40s, like late 30s, early 40s. So I think having kids later is much more common nowadays. Like we seem to be in the minority. We had our first kid when I was 23 and she was 25. So like your dad sounds more about the age that a lot of the parents that I interact with at my kids' school. Which is weird because like we don't I don't know. We're not like it's strange because 10 years when you're an adult, a 10-year age difference, like the difference between someone who's 32 and someone who's 42, it doesn't really have a big effect on like how you operate in the world, but in terms of things that you share in common, it's kind of it's kind of a big gap, right? So like I'm not really friends with a lot of the parents of my kids' friends. Like we're cordial when we talk, but we're not really like we don't hang out. Yeshwant, Yesh, want, want. I think it's. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. Thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate you. See you, Suos. Have a good day, man. Yes. Take care of your chores. um, all right. I think we can do some coding now. What do you say? We've been Steven's been running his mouth for long enough. I think so. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to see if I can just get a response from Gemini using the loop that we made yesterday. So I guess let's try to do that. So let's go. Um, Excuse me. We'll say what will we say? What will we say? So if we say var response equals await underscore not thread underscore agent dot send what Why doesn't this have a send? Oh, it has a run async. Okay, so here we go. Run the agent with no message, assuming that all is required. So we can pass in a thread. Gopi Krishna, I think is how you say your name. Thank you for subscribing. I want to give you guys a shout out because I really, really appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, and I'm very sorry if I mess up your name. Your name is important. Like, I've lived my whole life with people mispronouncing my name because it's spelled kind of odd. My name's Steven, not Steven or Steven. So if I do screw up your name, just know I do care about getting it right. I'm just I'm a dumb American. I have a dumb American tongue, and so sometimes I screw it up. So I apologize for that. Let's see. We need run async thread message cancellation token. Run the agent with no message, assuming that all required. So how do I send the message that I got? Okay, time to go back to the documentation. When in doubt, read the docs. Or ask ChatGPT. The funny thing is that this is a good example where AI agents kind of or not AI agents, LLMs kind of let you down because the agent framework just got released last week. So even like Claude 4.5 doesn't have, none of this information is baked into that model's weights. So if you ask it questions, it will try to give you an answer, but it will just hallucinate all of the code, right? It'll just make up methods, it will make up the whole API because it really doesn't know. So you'd really, actually using Copilot would probably be a good, like on the actual GUI here. I don't know how I can get to Copilot. How do I, like, actually Copilot would probably be a good use because I can set the context and I can use it. But like if I was just to ask Gemini about this framework, it would just make up a bunch of shit. But like Google, the thing about, so Google search though is kind of helpful. Google search is more helpful in these cases because they're always indexing, right? So they're probably, searches on Google are probably more up to date than asking an LLM about this thing. Lamp tried to resubscribe. Did you try to do what MD did? You trying to hack the Stream Elements alert? Destroy. I saw your video where you commented about maybe not becoming a back-end Java dev and instead following the market and becoming something to do with AI-driven development. Yeah, I think that was the last short I posted, or maybe the second to last short I posted before I went to bed last night. Destroy. This man never sleeps. I promise I do sleep. I just, I'm just committed to trying to make time to stream. You know, it's like I'm trying to make a commitment to do it, and you know, you don't want to break commitments you make to yourself. That's just it's a bad habit to get in. So if you tell yourself you're going to get up and do something, you know, you should get up and do it. You know what I mean? That's just, you don't want to get into that habit of not being accountable. Yeah, it's not yet given inside it since the training data isn't inside it instantly. Yeah, you can't, because you gotta, if the model's training data didn't include that information, then it's that knowledge isn't kind of inherent to the weights that were loaded into the model. Starting out fresh, what would you do? SQL, HTML, CSS, JavaScript plus C# or Python? I think it would depend on what you're wanting to do, probably. But I think if I was starting again, I would still start with Free Code Camp. And Free Code Camp will basically do the SQL, HTML, CSS, JavaScript side of things. And then C Sharp. See, C Sharp was kind of an odd one because C Sharp kind of got in the mix for me purely because the place where I was working, or the place I still am working, is pretty much a .NET shop. So if I wanted to be able to like look at developer PRs or look at our code base and understand it, like it kind of behooved me to get better at C Sharp. So I'm not sure C Sharp. It may have been some other language. If I had, if I had landed someplace that was a Java shop, I might have picked up Java first. But if like Destroy, if you were if you were starting out today and you're like, I want to be in the machine learning space, well, then you should probably learn Python. You should go hard in the paint with Python. Artwork Studios. That does sound like our game, controlled by head movement. Yeah, that sounds difficult. But I mean, since AI can go fetch data from the web, so why don't you allow it to like scrape the data itself, and then they could verify it? I think it's just the training process. Like they can get the data, but the time it takes to actually do the training runs, right, to bake that in and produce new weights, it's very costly, right? So I think they have to be pretty strategic when they're actually going to do those production training runs. They kind of have to be strategic with when they do them and how often they do them, I think. Which is why they can't like produce a new updated model every X months, right, to bake in new data. I think it's just not economical. So you're right. I've been doing that to myself for years now. It's not a good way to live, but I'm trying to get back up on the horse of willing myself to accomplish my goals. Yeah, it's just once you get in the habit of saying you're going to do something and then you don't follow through on it, that becomes acceptable, and then you start doing that all the time, and it's not good. So I applaud you, man. Get back on the horse. Keep going. That's all you can do. For me, I'd like to learn C Sharp or really good low level ones like C++ too, since I plan to learn robotics and mechatronics. Yeah, you probably need some low level language for that field. I've never done anything with it, but I would imagine that's more of like an embedded systems thing. Yeah, the tokens costs are hell. Yeah, I mean the tokens seem to just always get cheaper. The models capability, the models. Daniel, thank you for subscribing. The models capabilities seem to always get better, and yet the token cost either stays the same or drops, which to me doesn't make sense. So I mean, the prices for tokens can't be reflective of what it takes to run these models. Um, so yeah, the economics of AI are still weird to me. I was gonna, I was what was it? I was gonna ask I was gonna see if Copilot can help me answer this question without me having to dive through the source code. How do I use an AI agent class to send a message? This would be specifically a chat agent, chat client agent, I think is the type that we're at, the actual underlying type. Let's see if it can help me. I just like test. I just like. Oh, I was gonna say I just like testing these things out. Like I pay for Copilot and I pay for Gemini, so I always think like I should try to find ways to use them. And it did not come. Let me just give it another try. Maybe it was a fluke. There we go. It's working now. Uh, Oh, that's annoying. So I'm using Claude Sonnet 4.5 and it can't figure out that. Let's see. No. No! I'm talking about classes in the repository I referenced already. The agent framework repository. This is the experience of working with LLMs where you're just like, that should work. Like this should work, right? This should be predictable and reliable at this point. And yet it's still a pain, right? Okay, well, we're just gonna go back to good old climb through the look at the samples ourselves. Enough chatting for a while now. I can't help it. I feel bad. If you guys are here and you guys are sending messages, I feel bad just not responding. If I wanted to go completely heads down and code, I should just make separate time to do that. I found a good example. Where did I find that out? Oh, I think it was it Human in the Loop? No. It wasn't Human in the Loop, it was declarative, no, concurrent. Maybe it was agents, maybe this is it. Excuse me. See, they're calling some message that's called, what are they? Yeah, this is the one I want. So they're calling a method called run async, and they're passing in the message. Huh. Run async. So do I need to say thread and then I say message.text maybe? There's no overload. So where are they getting that from? AI agent. Is this just outdated? Is this code just outdated? Because there doesn't seem to be a... My go-to definition is not working in NeoBim for some reason. Sorry. Plenty stuffs. Thanks for the subscription, man. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a good day. Paired programming is two people. This is what they call mob programming, yeah? This is about how code and coffee goes. He does a great job balancing. I try. I should probably actually I should have a pinned message, shouldn't I? Good morning. I always forget to do that stuff. Good morning. I'm working on building an AI employee for my blog. Drinking coffee and chatting with you all. I hope you guys do feel like I do a halfway decent job of balancing, like trying to do some code and also trying to interact with you guys. Because I know for some people they're just interested in watching somebody else work through problems, and then I know for other people they do want to interact. So I do make an effort, like a concentrated effort to try to balance those two things. Okay, we need to go to definition. So if I do await underscore agent dot run async, and I do go to definition. All right, so we can pass in the thread. So there's one. Then, so this is the one I want. So I need string agent run options and cancellation token. The user message to send the conversation thread to use. The thread will be updated with the input message and any response messages generated. Okay, so this is where I'm just doing it wrong. I'm just doing it wrong. It's always me. I'm always the problem. So I need to do message.text, and then I need to say they should. I feel like they should have an overload that takes in a chat message. Hey, thanks for becoming a member, Lamp. That's very kind of you, man. Mob programming? Yeah, mob programming. If you paired with me, you don't want me talking. That's awesome. Yeah. I've never actually I've paired with somebody before, but I've never done like more than one person. However, there was a guy that came to the Kansas City Developer Conference last year, not this year, but last year. He gave a talk on he gave a presentation on mob programming, and I thought, wow, that's fascinating. You know, he shared like they'll get like 3 or 4 people on a call, and it will be like a couple devs, maybe the product person, maybe the design person, and they'll like work on the feature live together, which I thought that's interesting. I wonder what that looks like, or how that I can see that being used, like I can see that being beneficial, but I also know as a developer, or I guess as somebody who you know has spent time building software and features, it can be a little overwhelming to like take people's feedback live and then translate that into good code on the fly, you know, because you got to synthesize what that person's saying, and then you've got to maintain the context of the place in the code you're in and what you've already written, and then you've got to translate what they want to modify to what things in the code you need to go and change. Um, but yeah, I mean, it could be fun. I don't know. I guess I'd have to give it a try to really have an opinion, but it could be fun. I think I just need to make this a named parameter, and then I think this will work. Yep, there we go. And I'm guessing if I look at their example, yes, they really do want to override it. I'm guessing if I actually paid attention to their sample, that's probably what they're doing. Yeah. See, if Steven, whoops. If Steven would just read the docs, life would be easier. Named parameter. Which, I don't know how I feel about named parameters. I think sometimes they're really nice, but the one thing that it does mean is that if you're consuming someone else's code in C# and you're dependent on named parameters, you kind of have to remember that some people do not respect renaming parameters as breaking changes. And So if someone was to change this to like, if they were to change this to like, maybe they just want to be very brief and they change it to like CTS or CT, right? They're gonna break you. That should be a breaking change like that, but I've seen libraries that don't treat it as such. And so then, I mean, it's a small change. Granted, I mean, it's a small change, but it is going to require you to go and modify your code because they changed their underlying API. Okay, so let's take out our delay. We won't need that anymore since we're actually getting a response. And let's take that response. What do we want to do with that response? We want to... So basically what we actually probably want to do is we actually probably want the model to respond with some structured output that we can switch on, right? So I'm imagining something like this. I'm imagining the model respond... Copilot, stop. See, that is the problem with Copilot, is like you're trying to type, but you're trying to type to think, and Copilot is just trying to like cut you off. You ever been in a conversation with somebody where you're trying to say something and they're always trying to like finish your sentence before you get the final thought out of your mouth? It's so annoying. And Copilot, sometimes working with Copilot feels like that. It's very frustrating. So I'm imagining we're going to have a JSON object that kind of looks like this, where we'll have need more information, and that will be a Boolean. And then we'll have like question, or, and this will be, question will be a string, or we'll have topic summary, which will also be a string. I think that's what we'll do. We'll tell the model, hey, you need to respond with this structure, and then we can just check, like we can just check response dot need more info, like that. And if that's the case, that I think this is what we'll do. So let's come down here real quick and let's just make a new, what do you want to call this? Internal record. I guess interviewer response or something like that. And then we'll say property name is going to be, oh, that's not what I want. I want property, and then JSON property name, and I'm going to say this is need more info. When I'm old enough to come to America, I'm going to try some. Hopefully it isn't older than me when I try it. Oh, you're talking about candy corn? Candy corn's not great, in my opinion. Some people really love it, and I just don't. I do not see the appeal. And we are deep into candy corn season right now. Hey, Lamp, sorry, I do see your messages. Thanks for becoming a member, man. Thanks for hanging out in the stream. Also, love your use of the emojis. My favorite emoji is, actually, I should have used this when Copilot was pissing me off just then. Emotional Jared. I know some of you probably haven't watched Silicon Valley, but it's really, really good. It may not be age appropriate for some people, but it's a good show. Yeah, emotional Jared. I love that. Dude, his character is so freaking funny in that show. That's ridiculous. body doesn't need to be waxed from the inside out. Yeah, candy corn. Yeah, I would. The texture of candy corn is what I imagine what candle wax, uh, like this. Yeah, I would agree. It does not need to be waxed from the inside out. What do we? Topic summary. I'll say string. And up here, I think I can type this. So yeah, I think I can say interviewer response. Or can I not? Cannot be used with type arguments? I thought that's what they were doing in theirs. Oh no, they're just deserializing. Okay. So what do what do we want to do then? So this is a problem with structured outputs from models. One second. Hold on. Let me think through this. So we're gonna get it, and then we're gonna just deserialize it. So we'll say var response, or maybe response content or something. We'll call it. I hate. There's not. What's a better word for this? I mean, they're calling it an agent run response. So maybe I say agent response. Then I'll call this one interviewer response. We'll say await JSON serializer dot deserialize async, and we'll say this should be deserialized to an interviewer response. I guess I want text. I think I want text. Oh, yeah. I already have all the text, so I don't need to pipe it. So this can possibly be null. So in the case that it's null, I'm not really sure what I want to do here. So is null. I think I'll just for now just throw an exception. Big problem. We have a big problem. The name question does not, I don't know why it's giving me that error here. So then we can say interviewer response. Need more info. In which case then we can say interviewer response. Whoops. Interviewer response. Response.question, I think. Yeah. I don't like the length of that variable name. It's kind of bothering me. Let's see, LSP restart. Omni sharp. See you, Destroy. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Like literally written as a string. Let's see. By the way, Stephen, which code base would you prefer? A code base with all the variables and other things on the very top, then below are the functions and other things, but all the variables that are being used at the top, or maybe just a variable, simple variable function, whatever end. Or third one, just adding comments and explaining everything as required, like variable function comment explaining what it does and where it is. I think I would probably I typically read top down. So I think I prefer in a lot of times when I'm reading top down, I prefer that if you use something further down the file, it's declared earlier in the file, right? Because now I have context, like, oh, like in this case, agent response, and then I see that used someplace down, right? I think I prefer that with function declarations as well. A lot of languages allow you to declare, like JavaScript, for example, right? You can declare a function at the bottom of the file and use it at the top. If you're, of course, if you're using the function keyword, it'll be hoisted. Um, I just think that makes sense for the way humans like read text, but that's, everyone's got an opinion on that. Lamp, you don't have to say anything, man. Like, you don't have to say, I don't know what to say, and then you just say, I eat sand. So I think that's the kind of stuff I'm probably going to time you out for because it's just nonsense and kind of spammy. Also, the Groovy Banana, how are you doing? The Groovy Banana, are you a member? When did you become a member? Uh, when did that happen? Thank you very much, man. I guess I missed that. No, either I missed that notification or I wasn't online when that happened, but thank you very much. Yep, there you are. You're on my membership list. Thank you guys. It's very kind of you. Those of you who have joined and become members, I appreciate you very much. I think we can call 2025 the year of Steven membership. Well, I appreciate you. There's no pressure to become a member, but that's very kind of you guys to sign up. Lamp, do not share your phone number. That's a bad idea. Yesterday morning, fell asleep immediately after, though. Well, I appreciate that, Groovy Banana. Thank you very much, man. That's super kind. Yeah, I do agree. The learning curve for C# is a little harder than Python. I think that's why I'm so excited. One thing I've always said about C#, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, people who have been in the C# ecosystem longer than I have, is C# is always scaled up really well. Like the bigger, more complex your project is, C# can handle it. But going the other way, like C# has not done a good job of that, in my opinion. So like if you're someone who is coming from the Python world or the Node world, you're used to doing things like this, right? You're used to being able to say Python main.py, right? Or you can literally run these three commands. You can say new item main.py, and then you can do something like a little bit later in your, you can run a command that's like print f hello world, right? Put that in main.py. And then little later, you can just say python main.py. Boom, and you're running, right? And you can recreate that experience with Node the same way. But if you're in the C# world, it's not that. You can't do that. If you're in C# world currently today, you have to create a project. And as soon as you tell people, okay, you want to write some code or write a script in C Sharp, well, first you're going to need to run .NET new console. That's going to create you a project. And then as soon as you're down this rabbit hole, now you have to explain what's a project, how do projects work, how do you control the behavior of a project, right? You can't just arbitrarily write code and go. And I think in .NET 10, that's why I'm super excited about this whole new .NET index.cs experience, because now you can do something like let's go to my I literally cannot shut up about this feature, but you can do something like new item index.cs, and then you can say console.writeLine echo console.writeLine hello. I probably need to use different console.writeLine hello like that. And you can redirect that into index.cs. And then you can do .NET index.cs, and it will work. Now it's not going to work right now. If I do this right now, it's going to break, and you're going to be like, you're a liar. And the reason for that is I've got to use a specific version of .NET to make this work. And the specific version I have to use is .NET list -- list SDKs, and I have to say copy my root to here, and then I need to edit my global. I need to have this set up better so I can demo it more readily. But I think this is important. I think this is a really important first step that the .NET team is making on this front. So now I can say .NET version, it should use that. Then I can say .NET index.cs, and it works, right? So now the barrier to entry to get into C# programming is so much lower. You can just worry about learning C#, the language and the syntax. You can start writing scripts, and before long, you're going to have the ability to, the next iteration of this feature, you're going to have the ability to import files into one another, just like you can with JavaScript modules. So if I want to recruit a TypeScript developer over into the C# world, now I can I can have them enter at a point that's very familiar to them, and then I can have them scale up to the C# project system and the C# solution system over time, right? Which I think it's a big deal for the adoption of C# and .NET. I think it's a really big deal. Repositories, Casper. All right, sorry, I fell behind as I went on my little rant right there. Yeah, that's true. But C# is going to be a little, yeah. I mean, the type system is definitely a little complex if you're coming from something like Python. But if you're coming from TypeScript, the type system in C# should feel very natural and very familiar, in my opinion. I think this is complaining. Is this not? Non-invocable member cannot be used like a method? Oh, I'm an idiot. New. Now it's complaining because this is not specific enough. What do I want to call this? I guess I just want to call this topic topic. Maybe I call this topic, and then I'll put a string in here that's topic summary. Like that. Then over here, I can come up and say interviewer response dot topic summary, like that. Okay, and then I need to tell, so I think a lot of the models now, a lot of the model providers have this ability to tell the model to use like JSON mode. So in the Gemini API, they have the ability to say use structured JSON. Let me see. I need the documentation. Gemini API docs. Let's see, structured output, that's what we want. So they have the ability to declare you need to use a structured output of type, you need to basically respond in JSON, and this is the response schema you need to provide. Most models, I think, now have this. Anthropic API structured output. They call theirs JSON mode. Precisely define your desired output for custom templates. Nice, nice. So in their examples, it's like they're just telling it to respond. Maybe maybe there's a switch that they use. But yeah, most model providers support this, and the way you do this in the agent framework is you set this on your client options. So when you create your chat client, I'm pretty sure you can say var options equals new chat client option agent options, yep, like this. And I'm pretty sure you can say chat options equals new. And I think there's something in here like output structured. What is it? Response format. That's what it is. That's the option. Response format equals chat response format dot from JSON schema, and then you can pass in your type here. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that your and then I can pass my system instructions here, and then I should be able to just pass in my options here. A local, oh, yep, you're right. So this would be, let's rename this to be Arun. Thank you for the subscription, man. I appreciate you. It will be chat agent options. Okay, I think we're at a point where we should try this. What do you guys think? Oh, this should be topic. Oops, topic. Null check can be simplified. I don't want to do that. Right now, I just want to leave it the way it is. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can actually get a response. So my hope is that we can run this and we can get the interviewer to kind of ask us questions. So let's say, oh, actually, hold on. Before we do that. So right here, I'm just passing in message.text. And if you recall from my prompt yesterday, I actually am expecting to give it something like this. Uh, but I think it's already getting the message history, so I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb to restate this. So I think what I need to do is do I need to give it that? I honestly don't know. Because I think by passing the thread in the interviewer call, it's already getting all that context. So I think it's dumb to then. I think it would be dumb to then pass it again here. Because now I'm just basically injecting the same. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So I think I'm just gonna forget about that for now. But I do think that means we need to rewrite this prompt a little bit. So we'll say to analyze the full conversation history after every user turn to determine if you have gathered enough information to produce a comprehensive. Let's see. Let's just see what the results are without it, you know, and then we can come back and we can massage this if need be. Hunting Satire. Yo, what's up, Hunting Satire? How are you? That might be effective, no, since you're trying to place it into another LLM. By the way, Stephen, what about if you create master prompt? Like you put the current huge text into ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or any, and then ask the LM to make a master prompt on it for your use. Yeah, so that's how I got that system instructions. Was I asked Gemini to be my prompt engineer to write those system instructions for this agent. How long will stream last, Stephen? I won't set a deadline. I will probably stream till about 7 a.m. Maybe later. I'll basically stream until I start to hear my family wake up, and when I start hearing them up and moving around upstairs, I'll probably stop the stream. So that should probably be around. It's usually somewhere in the 7 to 8 ballpark on the weekends. My wife always asks my kids to sleep in a little bit on the weekends, so they usually get up a little later. Hunting Satire. Oh, still? Man, you're dedicated. Me? I'm dedicated? Yeah, I guess I just want to get this to something that I can actually use, you know? Cuz I think that's the important part about building things that solve a concrete problem, right? This would really solve a problem I have. So, it is kind of motivating to like work on something that you yourself could use. Um so yeah. Let's just see. I don't know. I haven't run this. I haven't run this at all since we started streaming. So let's just run this and see what the heck happens. .NET run project source Casper. What would you like to write about today? I want to convince TypeScript developers to try C#. Well, that's good. So it did actually make a request, and we must have got a response. Because we didn't print anything because our response goes to right now that it doesn't get outputted. Ramazan, I think is how you say your name. Thank you for the subscription. I apologize if I screwed up your name. So we must have gotten a response, which means, what do we want to do? Do we just want to output it for now? I just want to see the response. So we are returning a topic is what we're returning. So let's go over to our researcher, because that's right now, that's the next step in our workflow. So if it's successful, it should go to our researcher. So instead of our researcher handling a chat message, it should handle a topic. That's what it should handle. And then down here, this should be topic. That. And then we can have this printed. Topic.summary. And then we'll just return this to the rest of all the other agents currently wired up. So we should be able to see our summary now come into our workflow and flow through our workflow if it's actually successful. So let's go back to the tab here. It does look like it was successful though, because you can see there's a 200 response. I just don't know if it actually worked the way I wanted to. I want to convince TypeScript developers to come try C#. Okay, something's not working. So what's not working? This is where I probably should hook up a debugger, but debugging in a small little vertical window like this is a nightmare. So we're just gonna rely on good old printf debugging. Ooh, iced coffee? Yeah, iced coffee sounds good. Should I go fancy or basic with coffee today, my coach? You should, if it's midday for you, for sure, do a nice latte. I mean, you can't beat a nice vanilla latte. But if you're just getting your day started, there's nothing like a warm cup of coffee to make you, wake up and get ready for the day. I've got no idea what a fancy coffee is. So I guess that depends on where you are on the spectrum, but like an iced vanilla latte to me is kind of fancy. But that's also an iced vanilla latte for a lot of people is like the only coffee drink they drink. So the fancy coffee for them would be much further down the spectrum. Master Steve, give me my coffee choice for today. Let's do what the head coach for the Detroit Lions does. He gets a like a venti size black coffee, and then he puts like 2 shots of espresso in it, which I think they call a black eye. So there you go. You'll be loaded up with caffeine, ready to charge the day. I wonder if this is not actually agent response dot text. Let's just see what this is. System.console. There you go. Oh, there it is. So it's actually, I don't know if you, that's kind of low on the screen. Hold on, let me see if I can push that up. You can see here, it gave me a good structured response. And then it's asking a follow-up question. But it's also giving me a topic summary every time, which I guess is okay, but it's wasting tokens to do that. So I kind of feel like maybe I need to make that. Maybe I need to mark that as nullable for it to know that it cannot respond with that. Who subscribed? Code with Victory. Thank you for subscribing, and also that is that's a great name for a YouTube channel. Code with Victory. I said, wait, what do you use to draw on your screen? Oh, what I use to draw on my screen, I actually got this from Scott Hanselman. I think I've talked to you guys about him before. Scott Hanselman. I call him the nicest guy on the internet. He's if you guys want to follow someone on the internet who's kind of in the tech space, but somebody who's been around for a long time and seen a lot of things and is very kind and offers some really good takes on just career and working in tech and just in general, like good human being. You should follow him. But he turned me on to this tool called Zoom It. Zoom It, and I don't know if it's it's an exe file, so I don't know if it's actually cross-platform. It's built into Windows Power Toys now, but you can go to this website, just Google Zoom It, and you can download it as just a single file, a single executable file. But you can do all kinds of stuff. You can draw, right? You can draw arrows, you can do boxes, you can change the colors, right? You can draw like that. What else can you do? You can do text. What is happening, right? You can also turn your screen kind of into a whiteboard, so you can do Control-2 to draw, and then you can do K will turn your entire screen black, and you kind of get like the Sol Khan Khan Academy experience, which is kind of nice. You can record your screen, so Control 5 records your screen, Control 6 takes screenshots. There's a bunch of features in there. I mean, you could do whole tutorial videos on Zoom It and how you use it and all the different stuff you can do with it. There's a break timer. You can zoom, like if you want to zoom in on something, you can do that. Here, how do I do that? Control 1, I think. There you go. So you can zoom in on your screen like that, and then you can draw on the screen. See, I think Control 4 is live. So then you can do this. Go follow Scott. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. If you're interested, check that out. It's just it's a really handy tool if you share your screen a lot. If you're a developer or really anybody, if you're in any field nowadays where you work remote and a lot of your work is done via computer and screen sharing, it's a great tool because there's a lot of times where you'll want to direct people's attention to something, and the easiest way to do that is just to, hey, draw a red box around it, right? Look here, right here. I want to show you this section of code. It's very helpful. Yay, my message fine. I'm sorry, Lamp. Sometimes I miss them. Let's see. Wait, what does this code do? Is it feeding from HTML links? I don't know. I'm learning this stuff, my man. Of course, I can talk about what it does. Also, can't you try and add limitations? Yes, I believe you can. Like, let's see. Like in these cases, these questions are kind of questions, functions / work like this, or get information from here. And if you can't, then think. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can make this whole like you can make the interaction with the LLM whatever you really want it to be, right? You're just sending text to it, so you can really do whatever you'd want in terms of prompting. Dude, an hour 20 till cafe's open and I get my coffee. Dude, you got to have some coffee at home. If you got to wait till a cafe, I couldn't do that. If I had to wait till a cafe opens up to get my caffeine fix, no way. I have no idea what's happening. Steven, should I get a donut or a muffin? I would probably get a donut. I'm not a big muffin fan. Steven is trying to make an LLM that can give prototypes or sample text for his ideas to just brainstorm fast. Yes, exactly. Hello, Benjon. How are you doing? Yeah, so exactly. So hunting satire, going back to like what's going on here. I'm trying to build this thing that I envision for myself, which is basically an AI employee, an AI intern for my blog that basically does this. Um, the idea here is we'll get some user input. We're gonna have a LLM interaction that helps the LLM basically extract from the user what it is they want to write about. Then we're gonna have the LLM help research that topic. Then we're gonna have the LLM help write about that topic, edit it, what they've written, and then critique it. And at the end of all this, the hope is that we can flush out like the initial draft for a blog post. So sort of like if you had a ghostwriter for yourself, which is how a lot of books get written these days, is using a ghostwriter. Not everybody who writes a book or writes a blog actually sits down and does it all themselves. A lot of times they're just talking to a writer. They're sharing their opinions, sharing their ideas, kind of synthesizing their viewpoint on something, and then a professional writer takes it and translates it into the thing that gets posted or published. And so I was like, hey, well, I would love that. That would really help me speed up my ability to like make blog content. But I don't have the ability to hire a ghostwriter. I don't. I I could spend my money on that, but I do not want to pay. I do not want to spend large chunks of my salary on a ghostwriter. So I'm going to try to use my programming skills and my coding skills and my knowledge of working with LLMs to try to accomplish that. So that's the context of what we're doing. You know what? I just had an idea. I find that during a stream, I'm often setting the context of what we're working on. I need to write this down or I'll forget. Let's see. When scheduling a stream ahead of time, and I know what I'm going to work on, I should record a short explainer and then link to it in my pinned message and description. I know this. Someone's gonna say this is your system for remembering stuff. Yes, oftentimes this is my system for remembering stuff, because I'm kind of obsessive about keeping my like desktop clear. So whenever I see files on it, I'll take action. So if I put a file like this on it, it'll jog my memory to go look and see what's in this file before I delete it. So yes, it's very rudimentary, it's very simplistic, but it works, okay? So don't judge me. Suha, Steven, I'm eating chiton curry. What's chiton curry? I don't know what that is. Dude, this is smart, but I don't know. It kind of sounds like it could have complacency cons. That's true. I think that's why it's important for me to be clear that there's still a human in the loop, right? Like this thing doesn't it generates some text, but like ultimately I will review it and I will look at it and I will decide what we're gonna do next. So we're not just gonna automate this into like an AI slop thing. Bro, use Obsidian, and you're right. I have Obsidian. I do use it, but sometimes I just like to keep things uber simple. All right, I am going to go get a cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee. I am gonna try to run an ad, a mid-roll ad, just to see what this experience is like. So you guys, there's gonna be an ad here in like 30 seconds, and I'll be back right after this ad. Like I'll be back. The ad will probably finish, and then I'll be back with coffee. So let me put up my very super duper. How do I do this? Control split pane up. I'll say BRB BRB getting more, because we've already had some, getting more coffee. Control F, and then I think I do Alt Shift up. Miss Alamat, thanks for the subscription, Miss Alamat. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna run and get coffee. I'm gonna hit this add button, guys. So I just wanna see if I'm gonna be away from the computer. I figure, well, I might as well do a mid roll and then see what that experience is like, and see if I like it. Because if I don't like it, I'm not gonna keep using it. And then I'll be right back. So you guys chat amongst yourselves. I'm gonna turn the music up a little bit, and then I'll be right back. And I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna do like 10 push-ups and then I'll sit back in the chair. All right, we're back. Here we go. Did I also tell you guys that I think I might have got scammed on Amazon? Aw, man, he's gone. No, I'm here. I'm here. Hey, what's up, Ducky Dev? How are you doing? Hunting satire. That sounds like a good day. Hit the gym, then cafe. Hell yeah. Let's go. That's my kind of day, honestly. Nothing can beat starting your day that way. I realized my problem here was I needed to actually return the proper type. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna make this. Yeah, okay. So let's go to our console. Let's run this again. Scammed how? Oh, okay. So I told you guys I bought a NAS, right? So I bought a. I can show you it. I bought a NAS computer. It is a TerraMaster F424 Pro. I think is the model I bought. Yeah, so I bought this guy. It's a pretty basic NAS. It has like 32 gigs of RAM. You know, I mean, it'll be a nice little home server plus NAS because it has like a little mini PC in it, a small CPU, not a lot of horsepower, but enough to run containers and a few apps and stuff. But I'm gonna install TrueNAS on it, and I bought two 20 terabyte hard drives on Amazon to put in it. And those hard drives were supposed to show up on Monday, or this coming Monday. Now they were supposed to show up on Friday. Then they got delayed to Monday. Now they're delayed till Friday. So and the seller, the name of the seller, the name of the person fulfilling the order, like the name of the company, seems kind of sketch. So I'm kind of worried that this might. I mean, the seller has good reviews on Amazon. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering if there's something fishy going on because I've never had a shipment get moved like that so many times. But we'll see. We'll see if they show up when I get back from my trip. If they're still not here, or the delivery keeps getting pushed out, I will probably just cancel the order and find something else. Let's see. A NAS. Oh, a NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. Sorry, I shouldn't just assume everybody knows what that is. Yeah, Network Attached Storage. What you need that for? One sec. One sec. So what I need it for, what I need it for is I have these four. These are four terabyte external hard drives. Uh, this one goes back. I've had this one since I was 18 years old, and these basically have all the footage from like the last 20 years, no, not 20, what would it be, 12 years, 14 years of my life on them, including like footage of when my kids were little. And every time I walk by them, it it gives me anxiety because I think one of these days I'm gonna try to turn these hard drives on and they're not gonna turn on. And so I want to get the footage off of these external drives and onto a NAS with some amount of RAID so that I can stop having that anxiety about that footage getting lost. So I'm gonna that's the project for next weekend. I think next weekend I'm gonna set that NAS up once I get my hard drive. So I got two 20 terabyte hard drives, and I'm just gonna do a RAID 1 configuration. So I should have 20 terabytes of storage total. I'm gonna transfer all the memory or all the footage, all the data that's on these things. I'm gonna transfer onto the NAS and get the RAID configuration set up. And then at some point I'll probably buy two more 20 terabyte hard drives, which will give me 40 terabytes total in the NAS for storage. But yeah, that's why I bought it. That's just because of that reason. That's the cutest thing. Bless your kids, man. Yeah. Arctic, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, I mean it's kind of silly because I mean I have iCloud and so I have a lot of footage and videos in iCloud, but if you look back on my channel, there's like 3 years worth of vlogs, like almost like 4 years probably worth of vlogs of like my kids growing up from like ages of like 0 to 4 or 0 to 6. And most of it's on these drives. And so I don't want to lose it. Okay, I'm gonna go put these drives back where I got them so I don't accidentally drop them. One sec. Then though with having a NAS though, I should be able to do some fun self-hosting stuff. Like, have you guys seen there's this self-hosted app called Image for photos? Image? Yeah, Image. I think I'm gonna set this up on one of my servers, and then I'm gonna connect it to my NAS. I'm gonna try, I think, to set up maybe some sort of like maybe like Nextcloud or something like that to do like files and whatnot. But I think that'll be a fun little hobby project, and it will allow me to set my anxiety aside about data loss. See you, Hunting. Have a good day, man. I hope your coffee is delicious, and I hope you have some massive pumps at the gym. See you, man. All right, let me catch up for just a second, see if there's anything I should have. Back up your Obsidian. Oh, I already have my backup. My Obsidian backup is hosted on fly.io currently, in a CouchDB on fly.io. Let's see, we're talking about legal hacking. Somebody asked how much storage the NAS will have. Eventually it'll have 40 terabytes. It'll have 80 terabytes in it, but it'll have 40 total usable terabytes of data, of storage, I guess. But better for huge storages. I'll tell you next, Timo. Yeah, let us know how your coffee is, for sure. All right, let's try to run our app again. .NET run. We should have better luck, I think, this time. So we'll go source, Casper console. What would you like to write about? I want to convince TypeScript devs to write to learn or try C#. There we go. Okay, so this is so I'm trying to simulate, right? I'm trying to simulate that experience of having a ghostwriter, right? So this is part of that process, right? The writer is going to help extract from you things that maybe you want to ideas or opinions that you yourself have that maybe you don't know how to necessarily communicate in good written form. So let's see, what is the main argument you want to make to convince them? I want to convince them that learning it is relatively low effort because they already understand static types, and it opens the door to a lot of wonderful performance benefits since C# is compiled. Since C# is compiled, and what else? Benefits of C#. C# is compiled, and I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Who specifically within the TypeScript development community is your target? See, I'm primarily focused on web developers. That is the area of development I work in the most. And particularly, I think they could benefit from the Tejas, Wilfred. Thank you guys both for subscribing. I appreciate you both. It's very kind of you. I hope you all are having wonderful days. We're getting our day started here with some coffee and some code and some chat. See, I think they could benefit from the back-end capabilities that C# offers. What are 3 main points you want to cover to support your thesis in C#? Low effort, high benefit. I don't know. I kind of want you to. So my first reaction is, let's see. My first reaction is that there probably needs to be notes. Prob need to limit the number of follow-up questions. Probably need to maybe right now the interviewer is a bit pedantic. And I guess what I mean by that is I feel like the interview is really not, they're really not offering much in the way of synthesis, and they're really looking for me to provide all of the input, which I don't know is good or bad. Me and Lamp shared our games in Discord. Oh, awesome, very cool. Steven, if you can too, will you also play my game? It's on Discord. I'm not gonna promise that I'll play it, but I can definitely keep it. What I want to say is I can't promise I'll play it because I don't really, the only video games I play much anymore are Fortnite and Call of Duty. They're the only things that really keep my attention, but I'll keep it in mind for sure. All right. What I want to say here. So I'm trying to get to a point where let's see, what's the 3 main points? Let's see, speed, great type system, large ecosystem. I don't know. I'm just trying to make up something so I can get the model to a place where it's done asking questions. What is the desired tone and voice for this blog? Formal, casual, technical, encouraging. Let's say casual, technical, and encouraging, maybe. I don't think I want it to ask about that because I think I'm gonna have the what specific action do you want readers to take after finishing the blog? I want them to go to download the .NET SDK, install the C# dev kit extension, and write a simple hello world. I know you guys can't see this because at the bottom of the terminal, which I'm sorry about. And I think I can fix that. Split down. There we go. That's probably a little better. Sorry about that. I was kind of stuck at the bottom. Casper is basically, you can kind of see Casper is basically just going back and forth. It's making requests. It's asking me questions, and then I'm answering them. And I'm just trying to get it to a point where it gives me a summary is what I'm trying to do. Whoops. Okay, so that exited. So I think it did give me a summary. The only thing is I'm not sure why I don't see the output of that summary. I think I must have something not wired properly. So I'm returning a topic. And if I go back to my workflow, my interviewer should pass to my researcher when data is a success. But I don't know. I don't know why that didn't work. So let's comment this out really quick. GC, and then I'm just gonna have this always return C#. This is where I need to start writing some tests, don't I? Wait, task.delay. I'm not sure why that didn't print me a summary. Should have printed me a summary. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yeah, okay, so something's not right. So thank you, Anurag. Sorry. If I mispronounced your name, I am very sorry, but thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate you guys. It's a really weird question. I just want to know, how would you think about it? Hold on, sorry. Let me scroll back up. Steven, we would love to see you play a game. Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. I can work that maybe into the streams, for sure. I have a capture card, so I can definitely do that. I can definitely arrange for that. Bro, hypothetical question. I hope you don't get offended. If one of your sons wanted to marry an AI, how would you feel? I would be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You can't marry an AI. Yeah, that's a very straightforward one. Let's see. It's really weird question. I just want to know how you would think about it. It's not really weird. But I can tell you my thought process would just be like, no, you're not gonna do that, you know? Let's see. It's not. No, it doesn't sound spammy at all. Artwork Studios. I appreciate you sharing it, and maybe there'll be other people in the Discord that want to check it out. So you should definitely keep circulating it with people. Let's see. What are you building? Looks like integrating Gemini. Oh, so I'm building. This is Shadow. Good to see you again, man. I'm building this. So Microsoft released a framework called Agent Framework. So if you're familiar with Semantic Kernel or Autogen, these are some Microsoft frameworks. They're older Microsoft frameworks that people have been using to integrate AI into their applications. And so the .NET team basically created, or the Microsoft team basically created a new library that's sort of taking those two existing ones and combining them a little bit, right? Just basically consolidating the learnings from both of those libraries into a new one. And I thought, man, that looks really cool. I want to learn how to use that. Well, and so one of the ways I like to learn is through building things, through actually project-based learning. And so I came up with this idea that it would be great if I had a little AI-powered employee for my blog that basically acts as like my ghostwriter. So I can give it information and kind of have a conversation with it, and then it will go through the process of drafting kind of an initial blog post for me to further review and edit and whittle away at, but basically take away the blank page problem. Instead of me sitting for a couple hours and trying to work out what I want to say to go from a blank page to an initial draft, maybe I can consolidate that to like a 5-minute conversation, right? And now I have the initial draft and I can start reacting to it, modifying, removing, taking away. Someone's probably going to say like, couldn't you just do that in Anthropic or Gemini? You totally could, but by doing it this way, it's sort of automated. I don't have to write the same prompts again and again. And then also I get to learn a new library, learn a new tool, put a new tool in my tool belt, so to speak. So that's what we're doing. Let's see. Also, Stephen, what is your take on OOP? I have no clue if that was asked before. My take on object-oriented programming is it's great. My take on functional programming is it's great. I see the benefits in most paradigms. C# is inherently an object-oriented programming language. Recently, they've been trying to bring in some functional programming paradigms, but you can kind of express yourself through either one if you want to. It's kind of like TypeScript or JavaScript in that way. If you want to write classes, that's great. If you want to write nothing but funcs, that's fine. And you can sort of kind of do that in C#, a little less so in C#. Like at the end of the day, everything in C# does sort of have to end up being a class to some extent. But if you just want to write a bunch of classes with a bunch of static methods that just take in objects and return objects, and you just want to call statics everywhere in your code, you can write C# that way. It's not probably the most ideal way, but you can do it. So I think the things that I value the most from object-oriented programming are abstraction and encapsulation. You can accomplish those things without using classes and objects. You can use functions to do very similar things. But yeah, I think conceptually the idea of how do I encapsulate data and behavior together? Momon, thanks for the subscription. I think Chef A21, thanks both you guys. Thanks for subscribing. I think thinking about things in that way, data and behavior, how do I encapsulate them, is a helpful way to look at a problem. And then how do I abstract things, right? How do I make it so that the caller doesn't have to be concerned with all the implementation details? How do I program against a contract? All those things I think are very beneficial to think about when you're solving a problem. But it doesn't mean it's the only way. Mayor, is that Spring Boot? Hey Mayor, this is not Spring Boot. This is C# first of all, so it's not Java. But I know C# and Java, I guess, look alike. A lot of people tell me. I've never written a line of Java, so I don't know, but I've heard it. And this is actually not a web framework, although it does have it kind of looks like a web framework because it has like handle async and there's some response types that I've created. This code is actually from a framework from Microsoft called the Agent Framework. So yeah, not Spring Boot, but I can totally understand how you got there. Suas, oh man, I'm sorry about your brother. I hope he gets better, man. That sucks. It sucks when you get hurt like that. It is the worst. Okay, I need to figure out why. I need to figure out why researcher. Oh, so researcher. Okay. This is something that's very specific to the agent framework. Your executors, right? The nodes in your workflow, they decide, they respond to specific types, right? So they run handlers based on the type of object they receive. So in this case, I'm saying, hey, you can handle the topic type. However, this thing isn't getting a topic type. It's getting a type of what is it? It's getting a topic type of success. Like that. That's the type it's actually getting. So I need to go down here. And I need to say success topic. And then I need to say, we'll rename this to result. And then this will be dot value. And this will be result dot value. So you can kind of see this is where the benefit of that result pattern or that result object that I implemented, this is where it really starts to show its helpfulness, because now I can basically explicitly type this handler on this executor to this handler will only deal with successes. But if I wanted this researcher to handle like failures, for instance, I could have another handler method on here, and I could say I message handler, well, I think I called it failures, right? And this returns a string. And then I could implement that. So now it gets much easier to kind of separate concerns and have methods that are very specific to dealing with very specific outcomes. And right now, my result pattern is very bidirectional. It has success and it has failure. But if I wanted to make my results more dynamic, like maybe I have an infinite number of results that can occur, I could make additional result types that are specific to specific outcomes. It almost starts becoming more of like an event like approach. But yeah, so I like that we took the time to implement that result object. I think it's going to make our code a little easier to reason about down the line. So we have our so now I think things should work properly. So if I rerun this, famous last words, right? It should work. Yo. There we go. Now it's working. Okay, so now let's try to actually run the workflow the way it's supposed to. So let's uncomment all this code. And we are going to say, give me back my code. And then give me, instead of C#, give me interviewer response dot topic summary. And also, I hate the length of this variable name. It's really bugging me. So I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to rename it to just interres. And I'm going to rename this one too. Agent res. All right. Now let's have a conversation. So let's try to recreate that conversation. .NET run, or actually let me just rerun the command. It should work 5 seconds before the end of the world. Yeah, it's funny you say that. One of the best moments I have had on stream so far since I started streaming is I was at my old place before we moved to this place, and it was before I got the PC I currently have. So the PC I actually have right now, I can show you the specs on it. So the PC I have right now actually has 64 gigs of RAM. Thank you for that subscription, man. I appreciate it. But before that, I was just working off a laptop or streaming off a laptop that had 16 gigabytes of RAM. And so I had OBS going, I had my editor up, I had my browser windows open and whatnot. And if you guys didn't know, there's actually a tool that you can use to run GitHub Actions locally. Let's see, GitHub Actions locally. Like if you're iterating on a GitHub workflow, you know how like a lot of times you'll push to GitHub to run the workflow over and over. And man, I kind of got sunburned on my forehead from the football game yesterday. And that can be annoying. So there's actually a tool now to run GitHub Actions locally using Docker. It's called Act. However, to run it, it downloads like a 30 or 40 gigabyte container to run your actions in a really like a real true GitHub like environment, I guess. And it eats a lot of RAM. And so I was literally on stream and I was getting ready to test the GitHub Actions with this tool. And right before I did that, I said, man, I hope this really doesn't crash the stream. And then I hit enter. And that thing sucked all my memory, all my resources on my machine, just sucked it all up, killed OBS, crashed the stream. That was the end of that for that day. Let's see. It should work 5 seconds before CrossFit. Yeah, there's famous last words. Yep, they are famous last words for sure. All right, so back to trying to talk to this LLM. Lamp, wait, what if you make it like a Discord mod convo? Laugh my ass off, please don't time me out. What? I don't think I understand the reference there. Gunhighs, wow, you're still here. You really did extend your streams. Yeah, so I basically what I'm trying to do is I try to get down to my desk and get the stream fired up by about 4:15, and then my kids wake up at 7 on school days. So my commitment right now is I'll stream till about 7 o'clock and get off for the day, and then but on Saturday and Sundays I can pretty much go till the family wakes up, and my kids usually get up a little later on the weekends. So that's the plan for the moment in terms of a stream schedule. Let's see. Okay, I want to write about how easy it would be for a TypeScript developer to learn C#. There, I think, is a lot of overlap in terms of static typing and syntax, but you get the added benefits of a compiled language. I think it would be particularly beneficial for web developers when building their backends. Who is the target audience for this blog post? Oh, you couldn't figure this out? I guess web developers working in TypeScript. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking for my prompt, I might need to create like a little bit of a rubric for the LLM to say, these are the pieces of information you need to extract from the user to make it more, because right now it just feels like it's asking me way too many questions. What are the three? C# is fast. C# is enjoyable to write. C# is easy to learn for people coming from TypeScript. See, I feel like the LLM should be able to figure that out. Like, come on, you should be able to come up with 3 points. what is the desired tone of voice for this blog? It should be casual, encouraging, funny, and technical. I don't know. I'm making this up. I just want to see if it will return a summary. I want the user to download the .NET SDK, install the VS Code C# dev kit extension, and write a simple hello world minimal API. Like I think if I could get in a room full of a bunch of TypeScript devs and be like, here's how you write a minimal API in C#. I think I could convince some people to migrate or at least pick it up, right? Because I feel like everything you could do with a minimal API in C# maps very well to like an Express API in TypeScript or an Express API in Hano. Which Hano is really good though. Honestly, it's a writing Hano APIs is a very good experience. Okay, researcher received message. Excellent. I have enough information to create the writing plan. Writer's brief. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted. So now we just have to implement all of the other agents' prompts, basically. So we're the interviewer is extracting the information, passing it to the other agents. Right now the agents are just like printing the message that they're receiving. Now we need the agents to go and do what they're supposed to do. So if we go back to our is your health good, Steven? I think so. Yeah, I just signed up for life insurance. My wife and I had a long conversation. Um, well, maybe not a long conversations, but we had multiple conversations over multiple like periods of time where basically it kind of I'm the primary breadwinner in our house. My wife was a stay-at-home mom while my kids were real little. When my kids went to school, my wife actually went back to work at their school as a paraeducator. But historically, I've kind of been the primary earner financially for our household, which I very much enjoy, and I love being able to do that, and that's a role that I take very seriously. But for her, it obviously creates a little bit of anxiety, like what would happen if something was to happen to me if while my kids are still little, like right, while we still have these dependents on us, and she can't necessarily maybe earn the same amount of money that I can. So anyway, so long story short, so I was like, well, let's put that anxiety to risk and I'll just get some life insurance, which I did. So part of that process, though, to answer your artwork studios, part of that process is that typically you have to get like a health examination. So like I did, and I do this every year, but you have to do blood work, take do a urine analysis. They come take your height, your weight, your blood pressure, all that stuff. Take a medical history. And the results of all those things were good. So I think for the most part, I'm in decent health. I can run, I can walk, I can deadlift 400 pounds probably pretty easily. I can bench press 315 easily. Probably squat 275. Yeah, I'm I keep up with my kids, all those things. So yeah, I think I'm in decent health. Obviously, I could definitely like lose a little bit of weight. Like I have a little bit of weight around my midsection that would be good to get off at some point. Are you stay-at-home dad or do you have to drive to work? No, I work remotely. Yeah, I work from home. When my kids were first growing up, the first 5-6 years of my career when I was working as a food scientist, I would have to drive in to the manufacturing facility that we were based at. We actually supported 2 manufacturing facilities, but our offices were at one facility. Um, so I had to drive in every day. But then when I got my job that I have now, or with the company that I work for now, um, I've been remote ever since, which is wonderful. But not. I would love to be a stay-at-home dad, but no. Currently, I just work from home. Also, hi. Sorry for silly question, but at 34, a few months ago, I understood what coding represents and that I really enjoy this type of exercise. Was A plus at math, and I could use it well. What you suggest I start? Python? I would. So I always also one. That's awesome. I came to programming late in life too, so I think it's wonderful that you've discovered that you have an interest there. I always direct everybody to freecodecamp.org is where I send everybody. And the reason why I send everybody there is they have a really nice structured curriculum. Obviously, full disclosure, I have no association with Free Code Camp other than I use their curriculum. That's the only, but I always shill for them because their curriculum is 100% free, right? And what they built is actually like something that other companies charge for, like lots of money for. And so I always point people there. You basically, they'll help you get started by learning the basics of kind of web development. And I think that's a great place to start because one, it'll help you figure out if you like programming because you'll start to write code. Two, you'll end up learning JavaScript. Once you learn JavaScript, you can pretty much do whatever things you want to do. You can write code that runs on a server, and you can write code that runs on a client, which is a web browser. You can build uh, desktop apps using things like Electron. So that's where I always push everybody to. Doesn't mean Python is not good. So if you're just really interested in learning Python, go for it. But I always point everyone to FreeCodeCamp. It, if you do want to learn Python, Suhas has a really great recommendation. CS50p. Man, I wish I had a way to put your guys's chats on the screen. Whenever somebody has a good chat message that I want to call out, I need to work on that. That's something else I don't want to forget. But yeah, CS50 is really good. CS50 in general, like if you just are getting into computers for the first time or programming for the first time and you want to understand both hardware, kind of the basics of hardware and software, David Malin's CS50 course on YouTube is awesome. Awesome. And David Malin is such a good teacher. He could make anybody want to learn about computers. So go check out that. And then the other resource I like for learning Python is Dr. Chuck, Python for Everybody. So Dr. Chuck is actually a professor at the University of Michigan, maybe? Am I wrong? University of Michigan? Yeah, University of Michigan. But he's not like to me, he doesn't come across as an academic. He comes across very much as somebody who is grounded in reality, who is focused on teaching people how to be great programmers and developers. And he teaches a really good Python course called Python for Everybody. It's completely free. And you can find it here. It's got a ton of great videos. Walks you through it step by step. He's got partnerships with all these different platforms to teach it. So Free Code Camp uses it, but it's also on Coursera. You pick the one of your choice, but I think this is a really great resource too. What was I gonna say here? Add a way to display chat messages on screen that I want to call out. I don't know how to do that or what tools I would use to do that, but I'd like to try to figure that out. I think Restream does that for you. If you use Restream, they just offer that functionality. But I don't use Restream, at least at the moment. Oh, yes, I should also point that out. What was the gentleman's name who asked that question? Sorry, I lost your message here. I just was gonna Ozo Studios at Ozo Studios. You can join our Discord. Also, for anybody here who wants to join our Discord, you don't have to, but if you kind of want, if you're kind of interested, like what's the best way to get in touch with Steven or anyone here in chat outside of stream, you can go to discord.stevenfreeborn.com, and that will redirect you to the invite link for our Discord server. There's probably like 80 of us in there now, like 20 of us in, or yeah, I think like 80 of us in there now, which is pretty cool. $97. Oh, I was low. We have 97 members in our Discord channel, which is I think that's awesome. Alrighty. Okay, so I feel like the prompting of this system is something I'm gonna have to do evaluations against to really hone in the prompts. So I think what I'm gonna focus on is just trying to implement each of the agents. And then maybe we'll set up maybe some evaluation systems, some testing to help us figure out, to help us hone in what our prompt should be, how we should iterate on those prompts with actual data, with some actual data. Okay, so the researcher is actually, I think, the most complicated agent, mainly because this researcher needs to do research, right? So this research needs to actually get facts and information from external sources to inform and support the post we're going to write. Maybe not all the time, right? Because if I'm writing like an opinion piece, like C# better than TypeScript, it's still probably helpful in those cases to have some supporting evidence in your posts. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably cases where I don't need the researcher. You know, there's probably cases like where I'm writing a tutorial. But if I'm writing a tutorial, I'm probably not going to use this tool. I'm probably just going to write it myself. Because writing like technical tutorial blog posts is a lot more straightforward, I feel like, than kind of opinion pieces. In any event, we have to figure out how this researcher is going to search the web. The easiest way we could do this is Google has, or the Gemini API. Gemini API. Yep, this one. The easiest way is Google has a hosted web search tool that basically provides grounding for the LLM and its responses. So we could use that, but that kind of feels like the lazy way. Although it's probably like the best way to get started. Yeah, see, they provide these tools out of the box. Anthropic provides, I think, similar tools out of the box. Let me see. Anthropic API. I think they provide code execution. I think they provide code use or computer use. Anthropic API. The thing is, though, when you start to, this is the one thing you got to think about is if I ever wanted to swap Gemini out for Anthropic, if I write this code in such a way that depends on one of the provider's features, I'm sort of coupled, right? So it might make sense to implement my own search tool, either using some API or maybe just like a little Playwright web scraper of some kind. I don't really know. I don't know what approach I want to take there. Let's see developer docs. I like Anthropic's website. I like their design. Where's their, see, messages. I just want to kind of see, like, if I couple myself to the hosted search tool, what tools does these other providers provide? Yeah, here we go. So server tools. Server tools like web search, web fetch have their own parameters. Where do they list their server tools anywhere? here we go. So these are the tools they provide out of the box, or that you can opt into. So they provide a bash tool, a code execution tool, a computer text editor, web fetch, web search, memory. I wonder what the difference is between web fetch and web search. Allows Claude to retrieve full content from specified web pages. So I guess web search is like more, it just gets like links to things. Allowing it to answer questions with up-to-date information. Automatically cites sources from search results as part of its answers. Yeah, I don't know what the right approach is. I did find this API called Exa API. This looks kind of interesting. They're basically claiming it's like a search engine for LLMs. So it's like an API. So you can say, like, let's just search for Stephen Freeborn. And then it provides back the top search results. Let me sign in real quick. Man, this is really cramped. This is not the best layout for... So they have a lot of different options here. But what's their pricing like? Exa API. I think it'd be fun to try a service like this. I've never actually used a service like this, but I don't really want to be spending a lot of money to run this tool. Pricing. What are they? Okay, pay as you go. For individuals and small teams, get started with $10. Oh, $10. That's it. $1 to 25 results is $5. Is that how I read this? That seems expensive, doesn't it, for a search? Oh, price per 1,000. I see. Price per 1,000 requests. I was like, damn, $5 for 25 results. That's highway robbery. Okay, I say let's start with what Google offers out of the box, and then we can implement something if we want. How about that? Hold on, sorry guys, I fell off on your comments. Ozzo, thank you so much. Really, I noted Chuck and took screen. Oh, awesome, very cool, Ozzo. I'm glad that answer was helpful. Suhas, do you want a moderator, bro? No, I'm good. My channel's so tiny, man. My audience is so small. I don't feel overwhelmed by any kind of moderator activities, so I'm fine with kind of doing it myself at this point. Can you make a video playing our projects? I think it'd be fun. Yeah, we could do something. Maybe that's a members only benefit. Is like if you're a member, I'll do like a members only stream where I review people's projects or something like that. I think that would be kind of fun. There's the problem with reviewing other people's work is just there's only so much time in the day. And if you have 10 people that are like, hey, can you look at my thing? On top of like Steven's own agenda for his time, right? Very quickly it becomes a very scarce resource. So, Gun Heist, wow, you're still here. You really extended your streams. Very nice. Thanks, Gun. I think that's the second time you've come back and said that. Do you remember the first stream I joined? I remember there was someone named Boston. Yeah, Boston Sports Cards. Yeah, I do remember that. It was the very beginning of my stream. Also, Steven, do you remember that I start most messages with also? Yeah, I start most sentences with yeah. I have this really terrible habit of where when I write comments back to people, I will usually say yeah, and then what about the unemployed people? I would love to watch those reviews. Yeah, or maybe, well, I guess, Suas, it wouldn't be a members only, like forever, but I mean, maybe it's a mix. Maybe that's one of the, maybe I make a video out of the stream, right? So like I could do like a members only stream where I review projects live, and then maybe I could chop that stream up into a video and post it to the channel or something like that. It's just, again, it's just like, if I agree to review 10 people's thing, um, that's a lot of time to look at the code and figure out how the thing works and to offer feedback. Okay, let's go. I think we need to write another prompt. And by we need to write another prompt, I mean Gemini needs to write another prompt. So let's remove that. We don't need it anymore. Let's see. When you have determined you have sufficient information. So this is why it kind of asks those questions very pedantically, I think, is because this prompt forces it to fill in this information. I almost feel like I need to put something in here that's like, do your best. Let's come back. Let me move this note, because that note's not really about that class. Whoops. Oh, shoot. Did I lose that? Anyways. To do. Work on this prompt so that the LLM does a better job extracting the necessary information. So I think the primary directive is get all the necessary information in the fewest number of questions. The metric we are looking for is the fewest turns to get the required information. The LLM should work as hard as possible, or should try as hard as possible to extract and infer the necessary information instead of explicitly asking for it, right? Because that's not beneficial. If this isn't beneficial if the LLM is going to always ask topic, thesis, target audience, talking, if it's going to always ask for those explicit questions, then the interviewer is not helpful, because I could just make the user provide that in a sequenced. I don't need to waste tokens. Like, why would I don't need to waste LLM calls. I can just prompt the user for that specific information. The value of the user is to be the value of the interviewer is to be very good at, in the fewest questions possible, in the most efficient way possible, get to the topic that this person wants to write about. So we need to work on that prompt. But what we would need to do now is we need to take this, and we need to go to Gemini, and we need Gemini to give us a prompt for our researcher. Hold on, someone's got some ideas here. Let me read. Hold on. what do you think about me breaking down problems into smaller things and making the AI do it? Like, if there is a way to download YouTube music, Gemini write a function to download YouTube music. It's an interesting idea. Yeah, it's definitely. So you basically like have Gemini write code that you arbitrarily execute. Gemini write a function which stores the music. Yeah, I mean you could definitely try that. I mean, a lot of the like I said, a lot of the providers provide some sort of code execution tool, and I think most of those code execution tools use Python. Ibuka the Dev. Ibuka the Dev. Thanks for subscribing, Ibuka. I appreciate you. And great username. Ibuka the Dev, great username. There's another guy that hangs out in my chat sometimes. He has a username called this.dev. And I think, man, those are great usernames. And mine is not creative at all. It's just my name. um what was I saying? Oh, most of those code execution tools use Python. Um The problem is if you're going to have it like download stuff and persist stuff to a disk or just persist stuff to a database for you, I would imagine what you're probably going to want to do is you're going to want to spin up a container, like some sort of environment, some isolated environment that has the ability to talk to those places, like talk to the place on disk that you want to save files or talk to the database. And you're basically going to have this like not a provider provided code execution tool, but your own code execution tool. And you're going to ask the LLM to generate code in whatever language that you want to parse and run. You're going to take it and then put it in that isolated environment and run it, right? So for a Docker container, this would be like Docker exe, right? -it, where you're basically going to run a command on the Docker's console, right? And if you're giving it JavaScript, you do like node and then the script that the LLM generated. You'd probably also need to provide it some context about like what database are you using, and like are you using specific ORM. You probably have to give it some context so that it can properly generate the code you want to run. It's an interesting experiment. I mean, I think that would be the ultimate. That would kind of be the ultimate. Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate idea, right? I think that's why a lot of these tools that these providers provide are so primitive, right? Because like these are the most primitive tools you can kind of get to. You can run commands on the command line, right? You can execute code. You can use a computer. You can write some text in a file. You can search the web. Like these tools are so primitive they can be composed in all sorts of different ways to accomplish all sorts of different tasks. So it's kind of like the ultimate toolbox. I think the limiting factor is just how clever the LLMs can get at actually making use of them. But it sounds like a cool project. You should give it a shot, man. Why not? ASCII reminds me of my project for some reason. That's random, Lamp, but good to know. Bro, I'm talking about my own music service just for me. Recommendations is powered by a vector database. Yeah, I mean you could do that. For sure. Do it, man. Why not? You should work on the stuff you want to work on. You know what they say, ideas are nothing, execution's everything, you know? Alright, I'm gonna have Gemini write another prompt for me. I need you to write me a prompt for a researcher agent. This agent's job is to take in a writer's brief that will communicate essentially the outline for a blog post. The agent's job is to use, I guess in this case I really just want to use the web. Like this agent's job is to find information to help support the this agent's job is to find information that can help the writer produce the blog post based on the brief they are given, but ground it in factual information as well as helpful supporting evidence. Here is an example template of the brief the researcher would see. Well, that's not what I wanted to post. Anybody else have trouble remembering that when you're working in NeoVim you have two different buffers? Because I copy to the wrong buffer. Or register? Am I using? I think I'm using buffer wrong there. Register, right? I have two different registers that I copy to. And why is that not? Space yank. I think that should put it in my clipboard. There we go. Can you help me? Or please write. Did I already ask it? Oh, yeah, I already instructed it. I do not know Malaysian slang, Artwork Studios. I am not very worldly. I aspire to be worldly, but yeah, I don't know much about Malaysian culture myself. A research dossier, is that what that word is? Dossier? Is that French? That's too fancy to put into my code, isn't it? How do you say this? Google Translate. I think my kids might be awake. I just heard footsteps above me.
Dossier.
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 Is German? I thought it was French. Perfumes crafted in France with common sense. Oh, that's a brand. So in French it means case, I guess. Huh? What does dossier mean? A file or collection of documents containing detailed information about a particular person, event, or subject. Well, the LLM used it correctly. But Gemini is more cultured than me, because I would have just said research results or something. I only worked with Vim. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Vim, but there's a lot out there. You know? You are a meticulous and briefly skilled research assistant. Your entire purpose is to act upon the writer's brief. You do not engage in conversation. Your sole output is a comprehensive, fact-based research dossier, I don't know, designed to empower a writer. You must process the brief. Okay. This gives a role, gives it a primary goal, it gives it core workflow. Conduct rigorous research to find a variety of supporting evidence. Every statistic, quote, or specific factual claim must be immediately followed by a credible source link. I don't think I like it outputting this though in like, like actually now that I look at my code, I don't know if I like that I don't know that if I like I don't know that I like that the writer's brief is just a bunch of text. I think I kind of want the writer's brief to be a structured object. So instead of it being a topic that just has a summary, I think it should probably have a topic that has these properties. And then I can dictate how I want that to be displayed in subsequent prompts, right? I don't need to carry around all this ancillary formatting and stuff. So I might change that. Additional resources, further reading. So okay, so this is fine. I mean, again, these prompts need to be massaged. Like, this is probably not the final prompt. We're going to need to do a bunch of evaluations to figure out what's a good prompt, what's not a good prompt. But I think this is a fine starting point. I think the more difficult part about this agent is the research, right? It's the how do we give it the ability to go and do research. And I still think the easiest way is just to have it do Google search, right? So grounding with Google search connects the Gemini model to real-time web content and works with all available languages. How grounding works. Yeah. Prompt analysis, Google search results processing. Gemini Pro, oh, that's cool. So even the smaller models support it. Flash supports it. I like that. All right, let's try this. So what do we need to do in order to get it to do search? So we need to give it a tools array that has Google search. I don't know how to pass tools to this researcher. So how do we do that? Microsoft Agents, .NET, samples. See you, Artwork Steelers. Have a good day, man. Thanks for hanging out with me on stream. It's a long one, so I appreciate you making time to be here. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate all you guys that are hanging out with me, keeping me company. I probably have maybe I'll go to like 8 o'clock, or maybe I'll go for another 20-ish minutes or so. I think I hear people upstairs, so I think I'm gonna go up and see who's awake and get the day started with the family. This is my last day with them before I leave for my trip. There should be an example of tool use in here. Getting started, agents, agent using function tools. Oh, there's function tools with approval. Okay, so how do we use... So there's kind of for those of you that don't know, or that may not be aware, there's kind of two layers of abstraction that I'm working with right now in this project. So I basically have my application that I'm building, and that actually sits on top of the agent framework. So this is Microsoft.agents.ai or something like that. I think that's the namespace. So yeah, so my app sits on top of this library, which makes use of this library, which is a common set of abstractions so that you can swap out providers. LLM providers. And so my app needs to declare functions that are compatible with these abstractions, but that ultimately get translated into the proper tool execution in whatever provider I'm using. So that's why it's a little not totally straightforward how to do this without kind of looking it up the first time. Okay, so we using Microsoft.extensions.ai.function invoking chat client. So how do I declare? Okay, so this is how I declare a function. So this is just a static tool. Get weather, and then, so I need to do this. And then I need to say AI function factory dot create current weather. Okay, let's see if I can just get this little sample to work in my app. So let's go over here. Let's just drop down here and we'll say static. Well, let me just copy that code. I hate bees. Well, that sucks, man. Bees are like humans. You know, we'd be in dire straits without bees, man. Steven, it's 5:40 here in India. I feel very sleepy watching your stream. Maybe it's the background music. Yeah, lo-fi music is good for kind of keeping things pretty calm and level. I hate bees. I'm sorry you don't understand this shit. This is basically this is code, right? It's computer code, but it's written in C#, which is a programming language, and we're trying to build a little AI agent to help me in my content creation. I think I should learn a language. Yeah, man, go for it. JavaScript, Python, C#, if you want to jump in, for sure. Do it. Python, there you go. Suhas and Lamp like Python. And then up here, what do I need here? So a researcher here needs a private read-only AI agent, and then private read-only agent thread. Which is good. Then we can do agent equals new chat client agent. Oh, actually, we should do no chat client agent. And then we will we'll pass in a client here. I think we're missing some using directives. There you go. And then we'll say underscore thread equals underscore agent dot get new thread. Man, I tell you what though, if I had to implement this kind of thing all by myself, one, it would not be as good as using this framework. Two, you would spend so much time writing logic to handle an agent's conversation history. This is just there's so much value added in this. And the nice thing about this thread, they talk about this in their docs. The nice thing about this thread is it's serializable. So you can actually serialize it and store it in an external source and load it and deserialize it back in, right? So you can essentially have these agents persist their memory, which is really, I mean, that's just really nice, you know. Even just to do something like this, you'd have to write quite a bit of code to do it in a robust, nice, abstract way. There's just so much value to. I mean, it's a lot of fun implementing stuff, but if you really want to get to work and build something, there's so much value in using something that someone else has spent a lot of time thinking about for you. Okay, so we need options. So we need var chat client options equals new chat client. Oh, chat client agent options. So we'll do that. We need to come down here and we need to say chat option. So this will be for the underlying client, and we'll say new tools equals what was that thing? It was like AI tool factory or something. Tool factory. I forget what it was called. Or was it function factory? AI function factory. AI function factory dot create, and we'll give it the name of our calculator. What was it named? Yo, get weather. Sorry, get weather. Get current weather. What else does this method need? It needs the delegate and the options. What are options? Oh, that's the delegate. That's what we're going to call. And then we want the name of that thing. So we need to actually pass it get. This is where it's really nice actually working with C# in this type of scenario, because you can use the rich metadata about your source code, right? About your static types. You can use that to inform these prompts, or use it to inform these tool definitions. So you basically derive your tool definitions from your actual source code, which is really nice. And then we'll pass that here. This is actually agent options. Name this agent options, like that. Okay, so how do we test this? I think we test this by just saying, see if this works. So what we'll do is say var response equals await underscore agent dot run async. And when we run async, what will we say? We will say your job is to find out the weather. Because I basically want to get it to call I want to force it to call the tool so I can make sure it works. So your job is to find the weather, and we need to pass the cancellation token. Like that. And then we can just system.console.write line. This is where we need to write a test, because I'm thinking about how am I going to test this. I'm gonna have to like talk to the interviewer until we get to this point in our workflow. So I think we've reached a point where we need to stop and we need to start implementing some tests. So response dot text. I mean, I can hack around this by going back to the interviewer and just short circuiting this code, right? But that's not really what I want to do over and over again. And every chain of the workflow that I get deeper in to test that agent, right? I have to modify more and more code again and again. So we need to set up tests for all these things. Is what we need to do. So we're gonna but for this point, we're gonna real quick just to test this out. We're gonna not do that. We're gonna say task.delay. We need to forward the cancellation token. This doesn't exist, so we'll just say C# like that. Okay, and now we should be able to. Well, let me make sure I put my researcher in order. So we have our agent. We gave it the tool. Thank you for the subscription, Boone PJ. I appreciate it, man. We're running this with some instructions. We're giving it the thread. We're giving it our, we're going to print our response text. So let's just see if we can get the researcher to call that get weather tool. So let's say, excuse me. Yeah, so it did. So it said, oh, you can see right, oh my goodness, why does it keep going straight into... For some reason, it thinks my mouse is down. I'm not sure why. There we go. So you can see right here, that's the model responding. Or actually, sorry, it's this one right here. So let's give it a location to get it to call the tool. So we'll say your job is to find out the weather for Nashville. This has been a good stream, huh? I know I'm not the most productive coder, but I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm sorry, I cannot get the weather for Nashville. The function to get the weather is not working. Interesting. So what happened? Oh, your job, let's also provide it with the date. Your job is to find out the weather for Nashville on 7/12 of 1993. Nothing special about that date. I literally just made it up. See, this is why I need tests, because this is getting annoying. I'm sorry, I cannot fulfill this request. The available tools only fetch current weather conditions and do not support historical weather data. So is it calling this tool or not? Okay, let's remove, maybe the date is tripping it up. Let's just remove that. I think something's not quite getting translated right, though, to the tool definition, is what I think's happening. So I think I'm going to have to poke around a little bit. Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know how to spell Tennessee. How do you spell Tennessee? Not that it matters. I'm sure it can figure it out. 2 N's, 2 S's, 2 E's. Oh, it does work. I did spell it right. There you go. It called it. Okay, so that gives me confidence that The tool definitions are translating. How does this actually handle that though? I want to see what they're doing in this library. Gemini to MEAI mapper, or I want MEAI. MEAI stands for Microsoft Extensions.ai. That's that library. Create mapped content. Create mapped parts. This is the method I want. Create mapped generation config? No. Create map tools. This is the one I want. So this takes in a list of MEAI AI tools, and it generates the proper function declaration. So it's got code execution, web search. Oh, web search would be pretty easy to add then, right? Because it's just they already have that baked in. Takes a JSON schema and then it creates the function parameters. Where's this defined at? The element describes the whole function. For a function with no properties, it looks like this. We want oh yeah, yep, you're right, we do want that. Gemini API expects all object schemas to have at least one property. For no parameters, return null. So it looks like they've handled it all correctly because they're yeah, I think I can trust this. So let's try to actually hold on. Before I embark on this journey, let me run upstairs real quick. I just want to see if any of my family's awake. If they're awake, I'm gonna probably call it a day, at least from a streaming perspective. So just give me 1 sec. Let me go up there and split pane up. Otherwise, I'll come back and I'll try to implement that search tool. BRB. All right, I'll be right back, guys. 1 sec. No, they're still sleeping, so we'll keep going on here. What's up, Artwork Studios? Good to see you, man. You're back. All right, so instead of using this, let's make this super easy. We're gonna do hosted web search tool, which basically corresponds to, oh, do I need to new that? I think I need to new this up, don't I? This basically corresponds to the Google search functionality in Gemini's API. We have that. And so then what we can do is come down here and we can build a prompt. Somebody walking outside. prompt for our researcher. Let's see, we'll do internal static. Should it be just static? I don't know. We'll just do internal class prompt. But it needs to be in a namespace because we're going to have multiple classes named this way, which I don't know if that is a good idea, but that's how we're doing it right now. We'll do namespace casper.console.research. And then we're going to have a public const string that we're going to call system instructions, just like our other prompts. And then we're going to copy all that work that Gemini did for us and just paste it in there. Let's see. Can you put that prompt in a markdown code block that I can easily copy? Because it would be too much work to highlight it all. I just want a button. What time is it for me? It is 7:32 a.m. 7:32 a.m. Of course, here's the entire prompt in a single markdown code block. Thank you. I appreciate you. You're so helpful. Have you guys seen t-shirts? There's somebody that's making t-shirts that say there's something that these models do a lot of. Why can't I not? There's something that these models do a lot when you're talking to an LLM, and like an LLM will be like, you'll be like talking to it, asking it questions, and it'll answer you wrong, and you'll say, "Wait, are you sure about that? Is that really correct?" And then a lot of these LLMs will say, "You're absolutely right." Someone's making t-shirts that say that on it, and I think it's hilarious. You're absolutely right. Yeah, there you go. Someone the sycophancy t-shirts. This is so funny. Oh shit, they can't see that. It's too small. We need t-shirts that say you're absolutely right. I probably shouldn't just click on links without knowing what's on the other side of them. That's a dangerous thing to do on the internet these days. Funny AI shirt. Yeah, I would love to get a t-shirt like this. I'm gonna bookmark this. You're absolutely right. Let's see. Copy. Paste that over here. So I think this is where we will start with these prompts. Again, I'm being lazy and I'm just having Gemini write these prompts. I'm just kind of dumping them in there. But I think this is a good enough place to start because the only real way to improve a prompt is to run lots and lots of evaluations, right? So it doesn't make sense for you to do that manually. You should really do that in a programmatic way. And so I think it behooves you just to start with a prompt. Then you can run evaluations to figure out how you want to tweak it to get it better. Because you're really, at the end of the day, you're really just playing a word calculator game, which is what's the right sequence of tokens to put into this word calculator to get the right sequence of tokens out. So let's let's now use that in our researcher. So up here, we will say system, or no, prompt dot system instructions. You are meticulously highly skilled research analyst. Great. I love that for us. Excuse me. And then how do I want to return the... I think for right now, we'll just... I think eventually we're going to return all of these responses into structured pieces of text. But I think for now, what we want to do is Mythilesh, thank you for the subscription. Let's see. What? Wait, where else do you stream? I don't stream anywhere else. I just stream on YouTube at the moment, Lamp. It's just YouTube only. Keep it simple. Less things to manage. I've tried to stream on Twitch. There's just not really any discoverability over there. It's very difficult to get viewers. You sort of have to get viewers on Twitch. I feel like you have to do a ton of work in a lot of other platforms and drive that audience back to Twitch. Versus right now on YouTube, it's kind of nice because you can actually stream vertically on YouTube and get pretty good discoverability because you're showing up in the Shorts feed, which is nice, you know. From a creator perspective, it's nice. Then where do you read imaginary messages from? Did I read an imaginary message? I mean, sometimes I'm just talking. Like sometimes I'm not reading messages. Sometimes I just have a thought. sometimes I have an independent thought that has nothing to do with what you guys said, and I just want to share the thought. People do this from time to time. What was I was trying to look at? So interviewer has topic, and so I think a researcher should return research. So we'll just create a little record down here. Call it record. Man, I wish Butterscotch was here. Butterscotch is not here anymore. But this is what his the Vim scroll offset that he recommended. This is what it does. Anytime I am at the bottom of a file and I do ZZ and I try to hit type something, it forces me back down, and I don't like that. Don't like it. So I'm going to take that out of my config again. And I bet Butterscotch is going to show up tomorrow morning at some point and be like, your Vim scroll off is not working. And then I'll forget to explain it to him again. And then we'll probably go in that loop for a few days. Let me put a note here. This is problematic when typing, when centering the current buffer from bottom of the file. Once centered, and I type again, it jumps to the bottom. Which I don't like. So I think that was a really helpful recommendation Butterscotch gave, but maybe there's some other setting I need to set in there to prevent that from happening. I have to do a little bit of research of my own. So now I should be able to do ZZ, and then I have to close the other one to get that to reset. Okay, we're gonna do record research string, and we'll just say results for now. And then up here, we will do output, right? Format, response format, that's what's called, response format, and we'll say equals response format from JSON schema. And then what? And now what do we do? I think now what we do is we come over here and we say we're gonna say result dot value dot summary thread and the cancellation token like this. And then we need to say var research equals JSON serializer dot deserialize our research from our response. Response dot text, I think is what we want. Yeah, response dot text. If the research is null, something has gone horribly wrong. Throw new application exception. Uh-oh. Mr. Chaotic, that's a good one. The first guy, I'm sorry I couldn't get your name shouted out, but thanks for the subscription. And Mr. Chaotic, thank you for the subscription. That is a great username. Lant, for some reason I always think you read messages from other people who didn't say anything in chat. No. Most of the time I'm always responding either to your guys' message or I'm just kind of processing out loud what I'm thinking. But yeah, I only stream to YouTube at the moment. See you, Artwork Studios. Have a good day. Yeah, you too, man. Let's see, I think we can delete that. We can delete that. And now I think what we can do is we can just say research dot results. We'll give this a modifier. And let's try to rerun our program now. I'm interested to see what happens. I actually am going though in my interview. Let's well, I guess we can probably do the whole end-to-end thing, right? Let's just do the whole end-to-end thing. See what happens. Give this a good manual testing. But at some point I do need to what I basically need to do is I need to save off one of these briefs, one of these writer briefs. I need to save them off and use that in like a programmatic test so that I can just test the individual agents instead of having to test all the agents every time. Excuse me. You don't need this in there either. .NET run project source Casper console. about. I want to write about the benefits of C#. I'd like you to come up with most of the rest of the info you need. I'm gonna try to short circuit the system instructions. I'd like you to come up with most of the rest of the info you need to identify to complete the brief. I don't feel like answering a lot of questions. Who is the target audience for this blog post? It is mostly web developers who write C#. C# is fast. It has a large ecosystem. It has a lot of similarities in its type system, which I actually don't know if that's a really actually accurate statement. TypeScript developers should consider learning C#. What is the desired tone? Casual. What specific call to action do you want? I want... This is the pedanticness, where it's like, if it's gonna do this, like if the LLM's gonna be this, like it's very consistently giving me these answers. If it's gonna, or these questions, if it's gonna do that, I might as well just hard code these and prompt the user. There's no benefit of calling the LLM. Yeah, it's kind of dumb in my opinion. I mean, I guess the LLM probably does write a better brief at the end of the day, but still, I don't need to send 5 or 6 requests to Gemini to write this brief. I could just ask for all of these inputs and make one request to generate the writer brief. So this needs to be better. This is not very good. I want them to download the .NET SDK, install C# dev kit extension, and write a hello world minimal API sample. Alright, so something happened. There was a bunch of requests and nothing got printed. Oh crap, I know why nothing got printed. Damn it. Nothing got printed because my researcher is now returning... No. I don't know why nothing got printed. I'm stumped. Didn't throw any exceptions. Oh, damn it, because I didn't replace this. That's frustrating. James Berg. Hi, I'm new here. Just wondering, how are you able to write C# code in PowerShell with it being colorful and interactive? Hello, James. Good to see you, man. Good question. A lot of people comment on my terminal setup here for writing code. I don't always write code in the terminal. Sometimes I use VS Code or Visual Studio or Writer. But at the beginning of this year, I decided I wanted to try to use NeoVim as an editor, and so I've set it up to do C# development. And so what I have going on here is I have NeoVim is the text that you see. NeoVim, I'm editing in an application called NeoVim, which is basically, you may already know, but it's basically Vim, but like a nicer version, a more extensible version, a more modern version, I guess you could say. And then I have that NeoVim running in PowerShell as my shell of choice, and then that's running in Windows Terminal. And so NeoVim allows you, when you configure NeoVim, can set up language servers. So in this case, I have a language server for OmniSharp set up, and I know OmniSharp is not what VS Code uses. VS Code uses the Roslyn language server. However, that's not actually open source. So there is a Roslyn LSP for NeoVim, but it's kind of hacky. It's not the Mason, which is one of the package managers that a lot of people use to manage LSPs in NeoVim, won't put it in their registry because it's not coming from like a approved official source. So OmniSharp's kind of like the open source version, the open source available version that a lot of people who write C# will use in NeoVim, and it does have some Roslyn functionalities and features, but you just set it up as part of your NeoVim config. So if I go down here somewhere, you'll see I have OmniSharp set up as part of my, yeah, right here. So we enable it, we configure it, and then we enable it. And then I have some, at the root of my home directory, I have some configuration that specifically configures how OmniSharp should behave when it's running. That just enables some additional features, like it handles organizing my imports, it supports the editor config file. These are the Roslyn extensions to add some support for some of the features Roslyn provides. So yeah, that's how I do it. Vim, nice. Yeah, so NeoVim was a journey I started on at the beginning of this year. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely different. Like if you're used to doing development in a proper IDE like Visual Studio or Writer, it's a completely different experience. But the largest benefit that I've taken away from using NeoVim is Vim Motions. So now in almost every editor I use, I have some form of Vim Motion set up, because I don't understand how I ever edited text before without being able to navigate the text with my keyboard. And I love it. I love it. Hey, thanks for the subscription, Abdelatif. I'm sorry, man. I want to say your guys' names well. I need to practice more. But thank you very much for your subscription. James, thank you, Steven. Of course. 4490 super chat in MYR. I'm not sure what MYR is. That's a currency, but I do appreciate the super chat. There's never a need to super chat though. I stream for I stream for fun. I have a day job, and so you guys definitely never have to feel like you need to give me any of your money, even if it's a small amount, you know. Let's see, how do I close this? There we go. All right, let's try this again. I keep saying I need to set up tests, and then I never do it. I wonder what if I give it like a really good prompt that completes, let's see. I'm kind of curious if this will work. Give me a user input that will satisfy all the required information in the brief in a single shot. It should be about why TypeScript developers should try C#. Put it in a copyable code block. I just want to see if the LM is always going to do that multi-turn thing, because it's really annoying. Huh. I still didn't get any output from my researcher. So I wonder, Malaysian ringgit. Oh, nice, very cool. I don't think anyone's ever given me Malaysian ringgit before, so I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. I don't know. I don't know why my researcher isn't doing anything. My researcher goes to writer, writer goes to editor, editor goes to critic, and I should get output from critic. Oh man, dude, that sucks. I'm really sorry about your bro getting hurt like that. Getting hurt. That's never fun, man. I hope he gets better quickly though. Let's just console.writeLine. Let's see what this is. Research. I should probably add some open telemetry. This would be much easier to view in like Seek or something. Like if we could look at the logs in Seek, that would be nice. There's probably a lot of things I need to just hook up to make developing this a little bit better of experience, because doing this is not a good experience right now. Iterating on this, the dev loop right now is not a good experience, and it's largely my fault. It's not anyone else's fault besides my own. C# is fast. C# is similar to TS. C# has large ecosystem. Who is specific target audience for this blog post? Well, TypeScript. TypeScript developers. Dummy. Casual. Oh, now I remember why I had the terminal split. Was so that it would stay up high for you guys. Download.net SDK. Okay, so it's not actually ever getting... It's not actually ever getting to my researcher. So I've broken something, but I don't know what I broke. It's all working. It's not throwing any exceptions, but it doesn't work. So what have I done? I don't know. Yeah, I do too, man. I hope your bro gets through his surgery fine. I hope his arm heals well. It sucked. My little brother broke his arm twice when we were little. Like when he was like, I don't know, he would have been like less than 10 years old when he broke it both times. I've never broken a bone, knock on wood. I've been lucky that way, but yeah, that really sucks. Really, really sucks. All right. Well, I have something broken in this app that I'm building. However, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet. Been up for 4 hours. I think I'm gonna hang it up for the day and go upstairs, see my family, eat some breakfast, enjoy my Sunday uh, before I start my week. As far as some housekeeping things go, first and foremost, if you're still here, I only have 8 people here, but if you're here and you want to interact with anybody here in the chat or off of or me outside of stream, you can go to discord.stephenfreeborn.com. That's the best place to find us when we're not live here. What else? My schedule for streaming, I'm trying to keep it basically from 4 a.m. Central Standard Time, 4:15 Central Standard Time, to about 7 a.m. each day. Um, it's unlikely that anything will get in the way of that time because it's so early in the morning. I don't know what else would like conflict with it, which is why I chose it. This coming week, I have a business trip, so tomorrow I will be live like normal. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know 100% if I'll be live. I have some ideas to try to stream remotely through my home desktop. So we'll see if I can execute on that. If I can't execute on it, I'll try to be live middle of the week. But if you don't see me, that's why. Um, but yeah, I'd love to see you guys. If you ever see me live, just stop on in, drop in, just to say hi. That's totally fine. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in a short or a video or another stream. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. If it's Sunday for you, if it's already Monday, I hope you have a great rest of your Monday. And I'll talk to y'all later. See you, Suhas. See you, Lamp. Anybody else who's still here? Bye, guys. Bye, chat. See y'all. Have a good day.